We're just two guys with one mission, and we've chosen to accept it for some reason. It's time to tell them what we mean, what we say.
Merp. Isn't that the chick from Interstellar?
I've never seen Interstellar.
Okay, that would make a lot more sense if you had. Hi, everybody. How you doing?
Hi, we just watched Last House on the Left by Wes Craven, and it's a 70s movie.
And it's fucking ace.
Yeah, it's something, alright.
I love it. I think I love it because it mixes the incredibly inane, stupid bullshit of the cops stuff and the stupid music with just fucking horrible, grotesque violence.
Yeah, it's really grotesque.
Sexual sadism.
I think...
but the sexual stuff isn't too graphic.
No.
It's not as graphic as, say, like Spit on Your Grave. It's creepy and it's
dirty.
Yeah. It's way more sadistic, but it's not as graphic.
Yeah.
I think.
It's definitely...
And again, when you mix it with the fucking stupid music and the bumbling cops and stuff like that, it just, I don't know, it feels like it has more of an impact. Because it's just like, kind of like, oh, this film's not as bad as... Oh, Jesus Christ, yes it is.
Yeah, I mean, I hadn't seen this for 15 years.
Yeah, I'd say at least a decade.
And it was...
It has lost none of its power.
Yeah, it was definitely as rough as I remember.
Yeah.
So, this is a film by Wes Craven. It's his first film.
Unky Wes.
Unky Wes' first film. It wasn't a porno. I think he did pornos before this, right?
I actually don't know, did he?
Yeah, I think he was making...
Oh, I thought this was his first one straight out of...
I think it's his first
film school.
Actual... He didn't go to film school.
Do you know what I did?
No, he was an English professor at a New York school.
Well,
or humanities professor or something like that. Anyway, he was a teacher, and I just can't imagine... Like, if you're in his class and he's like going, you read any Shakespeare? It's pretty good. But in his mind, he's like going, everyone's going to die in a really horrible way. It's like...
Yeah. It's kind of like Shakespeare, if Shakespeare was about it.
Well, it's... I mean, we shouldn't have to explain too much about it. It's a very famous movie. It's a remake of The Virgin Spring, which is a Bergman movie, thus proving Wes Craven's intellectual roots from an early place. I don't know. I don't really know much about this movie other than I imagine that he just thought he'd write the filthiest script he could, the most brutal thing he could, and then Sean S. Cunningham gave him the money to do it.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it's off of... I mean, it's post-Halloween. It's
not post-Halloween, it's 72.
Well, this is?
Yeah.
Oh, is it? Fuck me, is it that early? I mean, it's pre almost every slasher film ever.
Yes. Aside from maybe Black Christmas.
Yeah. Which is the official first one, isn't it?
I think it's the first one with...
It's the first one classed as a slasher, I think.
It's got a holiday theme, so that's like why I assume it's like the first slasher. I mean, I'm sure there were slasher movies before.
I don't know. When you was it Going to Pieces? Is it?
Yeah,
Going to Pieces. I think they claimed that as
no. Peeping Tom is.
Oh, Peeping Tom is. Yes, you're right.
Peeping Tom is.
You're right.
So there you go. We've got some information, and now you don't need to listen to us.
Yeah. Thanks. Bye. Right. So we're going to go through the story as it is. I mean, it is a famous film, but.
Yeah.
I don't know. People I talk to have never fucking seen it.
What's the Mary's friend? What's she called? Phyllis?
Phyllis Stone. Yeah.
Mary is a 17-year-old girl whose birthday is coming up, and her parents allow her to go to the big city
to go and see a concert.
See a concert by... They're called Bloodlust, but they basically sound like Alice Cooper. Yeah. She decides to go to the city with her friend Phyllis, who's from the wrong side of the tracks.
Yeah, which is where the concert is.
And her parents don't really approve of it. And Phyllis is like a little bit more mature. Maybe she stashes whiskey in the lake.
In the creek. And Mary is given a peace symbol.
A peace symbol necklace.
A peace symbol necklace by her parents as a kind of pre-birthday present.
And so when they get to the city, Phyllis wants to get some marijuana.
Some grass. Because everybody still calls it that.
And then they run into Junior.
Junior.
Now, just before, a notorious murderer and rapist called Krug, and his friend Weasel, who's a child molester and murderer, get bussed out of prison by their girlfriend Sadie and Junior, which is Krug's son. Yeah, exactly. So they run into Junior, and Junior says that he's going to get them some marijuana.
Hey, I've got some grass.
So they go upstairs, and they end up getting kidnapped by Krug and Company.
Yes.
That's an AKA. That means I looked up the internet, innit?
Yeah. That's the other cut of the film.
Yeah, innit. So rather than have their fun with the kidnapped girls, they decide to drive out of the city as a means to escape the law.
And get up to their shenanigans in private.
They take the girls to the woods, and then they sexually humiliate and torture them, resulting in...
That's underplaying what happens.
Yes, I am, because I don't particularly want to relive it.
No, fair enough.
Which results in the death of Phyllis. After an aborted escape attempt.
Yeah.
And the eventual rape and murder of Mary.
Yeah, which is sad.
Which is just... It's brutal and tragic.
It's unbelievably sad.
And then, by happenstance, they happen to have parked their car just outside of Mary's house.
Yes, in the middle of nowhere. Not the last house on the left.
But night is coming, and so they seek shelter in the house of Mary's parents.
Which they don't know that's what it is to begin with.
Yes, they just think there's some...
There's a house there. We should get some lodgings.
Yes, but once they're inside the house, they realise that it's Mary's house.
Yes.
And while Junior is throwing up from junk withdrawal, Mary's mother notices the peace pendant.
Yes.
And then goes to investigate a suitcase they've left kind of half open. And when she's investigating, she overhears Junior complaining that he needs his fix before the people in the house find out they killed their daughter.
Yeah.
At which point...
She opens the suitcase and...
Everything's covered in blood.
Mary's bloody clothes are in there.
And at this point, the mother and father decide to take violent revenge.
First of all...
What?
They go down to the lake.
Oh, yes, it's true.
Because they do overhear that and then we left their body in the lake.
Yes.
So they go down and retrieve the body, which I'd never noticed before.
The thing is that I had seen that. Do you remember on that DVD there was the Krug and Company cut?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember this happening in the Krug and Company cut, but not happening in the last.
I don't remember. I don't remember even in the Krug and Company one, to be fair.
Because I think the
Krug and Company the body being in the house, rather. I remember them going down to the lake.
I think the Krug and Company one's extended even, and Mary isn't dead.
It didn't look like she was dead when they found her at the side of the lake.
I think that's the different cut.
Right.
But anyway, I can't compare because I've only just.
I mean, maybe this version is a murdering.
Finding Mary's body, they take Mary's body back to the house.
Yeah.
The father starts to
Home Alone style booby trap the house.
Yes.
The mother decides to seduce
Weasel
and take him outside because he claims that he could pleasure her whilst his hands are tied behind his back, which is a fucking stupid thing to say when you kill someone's daughter. And all that.
And then she bites his cock off.
Deservedly so.
The father surprises Krug and Sadie in bed, and a chase throughout the house and a fight sequence happens between
tripping over and slipping and sliding on foam and such like.
Yeah. Junior saves the father from a beating by Krug by pointing a gun at Krug.
Yeah.
But then Krug convinces Junior to blow
his brains out. Which was famously sampled on a brilliant record.
Yeah, by us.
Go find it on Geisha Noise. What are we going to do? Geisha Noise Research Group Bandcamp.
Or you can just go to Soulseek and then just get it for free, couldn't you?
You fucks.
You could just go to a blog and just get it for free, couldn't you?
Yeah,
couldn't you?
You fucks. Anyway, so he blows his brains out.
At which point the father has
slipped off.
Yeah, down to the cellar and picked up a chainsaw.
Yes.
And then a chase with the chainsaw happens throughout the house.
Including Krug hiding behind a wooden door.
Yes.
Whilst being attacked with a chainsaw.
Misunderstanding that maybe chainsaws were designed to cut wood. This is a folly he will fall into many times.
Many times.
We're making light of this because it was so horrible.
Yeah, it really is horrible.
At which point Sadie comes in and wants nothing to do with Krug.
No.
Escapes outside, but runs into the mother. They get into a fight.
Sadie
falls into a pool. The mother slashes her throat as she tries to get out, and that's
Very
the end
satisfying.
And there's the end of Sadie.
Very satisfying.
And then the cops show up
Just as
the
father is about to run Krug through with the chainsaw.
and then he does do that.
He does it anyway.
And then the cops are like, I wonder who the real cannibals are.
It's the cannibals.
And then it freeze frames, and then and then comes the
This
kazoos.
fucking stupid ass music.
Oh, so
I mean, it's horrible and
Yes.
grim, and it's fucking sadistic, but it's so perfectly done.
I
It's
think-
grimy, and it's.
I think-
but it's I think it's slightly Wes Craven's craft that elevates this above. Like, if you put this exact same thing in somebody else's hands, I think it just comes across as another like schlocky exploitation, rape, revenge, fantasy, murder thing that we've seen a bunch of.
yes,
I think it's his
I
craft of
agree.
it that elevates it above that, because if the picture quality still looks crap because it's so low budget, the acting's not exactly fantastic for them. Well, some of it is, some of it isn't. Like, Sadie's terrible, but then you got fucking David Hess, who's fucking brilliant in this. The two girls look genuinely fucking terrified.
Yeah, Mary, Phyllis, David Hess, and Weasel are really fantastic in this movie. There's all those actors did like great work.
I think the mum's good.
Yeah, the mum's good.
The
The
dad's
dad,
a little bit over the top.
he's a little bit.
The cops are fucking
The
ridiculous.
cops are comedy,
They're
bumbling cops.
proper comedy relief.
I think we're on the same page. Is that Craven's talent shines through?
Yeah, in a big way.
Despite low budget limitations
yeah.
of the film.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many hairs in so many gates in this. It is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised because I reckon you could probably you could edit that out. No?
Digital them out.
Yeah,
now.
I think you could get
Yeah.
get rid of those. But
then would that take away
maybe
from
the hair
the-
is a character? Maybe it's something Wes Craven meant us to see.
Yeah, or maybe it's just
The late great Wes.
this is so fucking like grimy and creepy. Just keep it in because it makes it grimier and creepier.
yeah,
It's like we've discussed before, like watching Blair Witch on like a fucking 4th generation VHS made it infinitely creepier than watching
Yeah.
it on DVD. There's something to that, just kind of, and it's it's all. This is all like handheld footage. So it's all shaky and kind of documentary, kind of fucks with your brain kind of thing. It just all works in such a fucking perfect way for such a horrible, horrible movie. It just works in such a way that is fucking close to genius.
and he never did anything as brutal as this
No.
again, right?
No,
So
at
it's
all.
kind of. Do you think it's one of those things that he got out of his system, or do you think it was
Yeah,
just
you have
about
to.
getting a name for himself and making something so reprehensible that like?
I think it's probably a bit of both. Because, like you say, his later work wasn't nearly this brutal.
Although it was gorier.
Yeah,
It was
I mean,
like his-
I mean, first Nightmare on Elm Street is fucking gory as all hell, and it's creepy as all hell. I think maybe it,
I think the thing is that he's
it's the sadism in this that sets it apart. I think.
yeah.
Because there isn't that fantasy element like you would get with like Nightmare on Elm Street, or the kind of postmodernism that you would get with New Nightmare or Scream or
Yeah.
something like that. This is just straight up, just fucking exploitation.
Which always kind
Nasty,
of went
you know.
against my ideas of Wes Craven, because of course, this was banned when I was growing up, so I saw his other movies first, and I always considered Wes Craven as like one of the smart guys.
Yeah, yeah.
So watching this was a little bit jarring to me, because the only thing that's really smart about it is his knowledge of European cinema, Scandinavian cinema, even.
I don't know about that. I think,
But this is not an intellectual movie. This is not intellectual in the same way that New Nightmare is, or that even Scream is, although he didn't write Scream.
No.
Scream is very much Wes Craven's style of movie.
Yes.
It's critiquing whilst thinking. Now, not to say there's not layers there, because there's layers of class struggle, there's layers of polite society's indifference towards violence, which I guess goes with class struggle. But I think the intellectual levels are kind of lost because of the brutality of the sadism.
Yeah.
So it's like a hard movie. It's like weird because it's.
Well, there's also the level of what I think Wes Craven was at the time, which was slightly anti-authoritarian, hence why the cops are so fucking bumbling and absolutely ineffectual for the entire movie. You have police characters in there, but
I mean, he's from
they
that
do
kind of
nothing.
He's from that '60s.
Yeah, long-legged hippie generation.
Yeah, like
They're just
he's
like, fuck the cops, man.
yeah, he's like
And there is a bit of that in here, I think.
anti-establishment. I don't really know what else to say. it's like
No, I mean,
everything else I think we will cover when we score it.
Yeah, I just want to say before we score it, disclaimer, I don't think it's going to score quite as highly as it should. I think the way that we've worked out the scoring system, I don't think this is it's not going to be some blockbuster score.
No.
But it's probably my favourite film on the list.
Oh, that's wild.
I think.
More than Evil Dead?
More than Evil Dead.
Oh, wow, okay.
I think this just had more of an impact on me, because Evil Dead is a bit schlockier. Not in a bad way. This is
more metal.
Yes. that's a perfect way to put it. The Stephen King fucking Iron Maiden upbringing that I had, fucking, Wasp, death metal, all that kind of stuff. This speaks to that in such a big bad way.
This is the grindcore of
it's so fucking nihilistic, even with the stupid bits in there. That the stupid bits are just like light relief. They're just kind of breathe. I can breathe for a second, and we're back to the fucking brutality. Like the pauses,
this is the napalm death of
like the pauses in between the songs on a fucking Deicide album. It's like, that's nice. Oh Christ, we're going back again. I'm really fucking going. Get on it. Mosh pit.
All right. Story's
good. Two innocents, but one slightly more innocent than the other, apparently, according to the mother. Journey into a city. They're met with the seedy underbelly of 70s American society. Get taken out to the woods, get fucking brutally killed, and then revenge from the parents. I like it because neither of them survive, which I think is a bold move.
Yes.
And the cops don't stop him at the end. I think that's two really massive points. In most of the films, he would be like, "Oh yeah, okay," and the end crew would go to jail.
Yes.
Like, no, fuck that noise. Chainsaw to the chest. I love that about the story. It's bleak as fuck.
I think the only reason this would lose points for me is because the story is lifted from another work.
Okay, so 4 then.
I think 4 is... Yeah, like it's... But other than that, it's like a well-told story.
Yeah, and everything follows, and, there's no great leaps in it.
Gore.
Great.
But also, there's not a lot of gore.
But what there is super effective, like the chest carving.
The chest
looks
carving.
Fucking gross. I mean, some of the stabs look okay. They don't need to overplay it. Like when she stands up, there's not like any like pissing wounds or anything like that. It's more just the fact that like the dress itself or the shirt itself is cut up and stuff, and you can just kind of see stuff underneath that does actually look pretty realistic.
For me, there's only 3 points of gore.
Okay. Oh, the neck slash is super good as well.
The chest carving, the gut pulling, which neither of us had seen before.
No, I think that's one of the extra bits.
And the throat slashing. But the throat slashing kind of doesn't work.
Because it's more of a blood spit out of her mouth.
Yeah.
But then she is in a pool, so. But it's like that kind of would because she falls back. You would think the what would do that anyway. I don't know. I think it's quick enough that it still looks pretty.
I think I go for a 2. I don't think I can go higher than a 2 on the door.
Oof. Because way low.
Because there's not a lot. There's not a lot,
but what there is, I think looks really good. So I'm going to go 3.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean about the neck slash because it does. She does kind of spit it out of her mouth, but then if you had your throat slashed and you were falling backwards into a pool, you would exhale blood at that point. So coming at you from realism down.
Creativity.
Pretty high. I mean, the torture, the piss your pants is quite. The blow your brains out is quite creative.
I think in general, I mean, I still haven't seen much like this.
No.
But like, there are limitations of the budget. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
And there's definitely the kind of... I felt like a lot of the fight sequences towards the end were kind of a little bit fillery.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And also some of the creative choices that are made, say, with music and stuff like that, and the bumbling cops, like, to make them so fucking bumbling. They could have just been inept cops, but they're not. They're bumbling cops. And they're kind of played as a joke, which just take a little bit away from me. If they'd have played them a little bit more straight, because the rest of the film is played so fucking straight.
Yes,
it is slightly jarring, so that would lose a bit for me. But again, 3 or 4.
I think I'll go for a 3. I don't think I can go for a 4.
Well, in the same way that you did with the music on the last one, I'm thumbing the scale, so I'm going to say 4.
Okay.
I do want this to have a high score. I'm completely biased on this one.
Sense Is there anything that doesn't make any sense?
Is there anything that doesn't make any sense in this? I don't think there is.
I think we're going to have to give it full marks.
Parents would react like that. The criminals all kind of behave in a way that you would think they would. The girls especially behave in a way that you think that they would.
I think I can't give it 5.
Oh, you have a problem?
Yeah.
Go on.
When the cops,
one word.
When the cops find the car...
Yeah, they don't run the plates or anything.
They don't do anything. They just think, oh,
because they do even go back to the police station after they found it as well. So yeah, okay.
If you're a cop, I mean, I don't know. Yeah, maybe I can understand the cops are lazy, but I don't think that these cops weren't lazy.
No,
they were just bumbling.
And it's just a random car parked on the side of the street. You think they would at least run the plates on it.
They would have run the plates, or they would at least looked for the owner. They wouldn't just leave a car because that's suspicious.
Yeah.
So I think I give it a 4, but it loses a point because of the cops of the car.
Yeah, okay.
For me.
That pains me to say it, but yeah, you are right about that. But that is pretty much the only thing that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that's the only thing that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, okay. 4.
4 for you.
Yeah. Ugh, that hurts.
Alright, and this is where it gets really skewed.
Oof.
Now, the music.
Oh.
David Hess did the music.
Oh.
I think most of the score is fantastic. But there's definitely some...
It's one song, but they repeat it at least, I think, twice, maybe 3 times because of the end credit. I think it's because there's huge budgetary restraints here. So obviously they could get the studio for a certain amount of time, and David Hess, who was acting in the movie, basically had to come up with a bunch of songs. Yeah. With lyrics and everything. But at least one of them is fucking amazing. Yeah. Yeah. God, that's pain. Yeah. Because there's going to have to be 3, I guess, because the good is outweighed pretty much by... I think a 3 is good. Yeah. I don't think a 3 is underplaying it. But if you made another cut of this film and just took out the fucking... the kazoo song. The kazoo song. And especially the one with the lyrics in the middle of the film. If the lyric version had been over the credits, and the instrumental version was in the film, that might even tip it. Yeah, the concept the other way as well. Basically, of the song describing what's going on in the movie, we know what's going on. It's Krug and Junior and Sadie and Weasel. They're killing these girls in the woods. Later the dad will get a chainsaw. It will not be. So it's a 3 from both of us. Yeah. But again, disclaimer: this is my favourite film on the list. Okay. I don't think it's nearly as bad as you No. It's a 34 out of 50, which I think for this experiment is pretty high. Yeah. That's way above average. Yeah. Yeah, the only one that I would like to see the comparison with, which obviously we're not doing, is Evil Dead. Evil Dead. Because that's the only one that high up for me in my kind of actual favourite films of all time list. Yes. As opposed to I remember the Beyond films on this list. Scored pretty high. Oh, Beyond was dope, yeah. But if I was talking to any kind of normal person or kind of normal movie buff, I think in the course of the conversation this would come up and Evil Dead would come up. Maybe Beyond if we started talking about kind of Italian horror or something like that. But I think this would come up and Evil Dead would come up, so I would like to see what the comparison between the two scores is. Yeah, I'd be curious. We'll discuss it in the last episode. If in that conversation I stopped ranting about Battle Royale and Breakfast Club for long enough. My actual 2 favourite films. But yeah, 34 out of 50. 34. Respectable. For one of these movies. Especially for one of these kind of movies. Would you recommend the movie, Steve? Hell yeah. But not to anybody with a light constitution. Or not anybody who I didn't want to think was that I was really fucked up. The horror film people, yeah, definitely. Kind of people who are into creepy films, but, you're my average friend at work. Probably not. I think anyone who what's a good example? Anyone who really likes Quentin Tarantino movies, I would absolutely recommend this film to. I would recommend it to horror fans, but when I worked in the video shop and it was available again, you put this in the rom-com section. No, I used to recommend this. People were saying, "Oh, I'm after some real horror movie," and I would recommend this a lot. I'd say it's from the 70s, but it's really rough.
I think that's just like going, hey, it's old. Maybe it doesn't look like.
Yeah, but it will make
It doesn't look like it doesn't look like I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah.
But it's a rough horror movie.
It'll make you feel ways that today's horror films won't.
Yeah, and the amount of people who came back and were like really angry with me.
Yeah.
So
I think that's actually a good recommendation because people who watch like I Know What You Did Last Summers and stuff like that, it's like maybe this isn't for them, but this is a proper fucking horror film.
yeah,
This is what I would consider a proper fucking horror film.
because it's horrifying.
Yeah, in the pantheon of like your Halloweens and your Friday the 13th and stuff like that people elevate to such level. I think this got lost in the shuffle because it was A, before those, and B, so low budget and stuff like that.
But
and also because Wes Craven did Nightmare on Elm Street after that. I think that's people's go-to. If they're not talking about Scream, if they're talking about old Wes Craven, they always go back to Nightmare on Elm Street. They don't go back to this, and it's just like you're missing a trick on this.
But I would also say that like Halloween is nowhere near as rough as this movie.
No.
And I think that for most people,
Halloween's super boring compared to
I
this.
would recommend this movie with the caveat that it's rough going.
Yeah.
And if
You will want to shower after.
and it's most likely gonna upset you.
Yeah, I think so.
Because I'm upset and I've seen it before.
Yeah. I'm not upset. I'm just kind of...
It's upsetting.
It's affecting.
But
I'll go that
it's
far.
also David Hess is amazing. He's such a great actor, and it's a shame the late great David Hess, and it's a shame we lost him because I feel like
He could have done more.
I feel like he could have done.
Can you imagine like an old fucking David Hess doing a movie like this? That'd be fucking dope. Like really old, gnarly fucking... And just doing like a fucking grindhouse kind of film now. That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah, I think I don't know. He seemed more interested in his music towards the end of his life.
Yeah,
So.
there are a couple of interviews on the DVD of this where he's kind of like, he's just sat back and he's all kind of placid and chill. It's just like, oh man, what happened to you? You used to be fucking horrible. Because even,
No, but he's like a character, Steve, as an actor.
But he plays it so well, I can't believe that wasn't even slightly.
Yeah, but he's not Tom Cruise who plays Tom Cruise.
Yeah. But I mean,
Just
even
in crazy situations.
But I mean, the David Hess in this and the David Hess in, what was the other one?
House at the edge of the park.
It just seems so natural. But I can't believe there wasn't some.
Yeah, I think there's an intensity here.
Yeah.
There's a natural intensity. But like from everyone I heard talk about him and everyone and his family, like on the internet when they would talk about their dad, he seemed like a real stand-up guy.
Yeah.
This is where someone in the comments goes, actually, he was a prick and here's the evidence. But I don't think he was.
No, I hope with all my heart that's not true, and this was just acting, and he was just fucking phenomenal in it.
Yeah.
But it just comes across so naturalistic, it's just affecting.
Yeah.
It's really affecting.
And I think in the hands of, as you said, in the hands of another director with a different, a less talented cast,
It could have been so
I think this
shocking.
would have been awful.
Yeah.
And it rides that line.
Yeah, I think even just in this series we've seen enough films that are examples of that.
Yeah.
That have taken a premise such as this, which isn't like, it's not the most in-depth premise ever, and just made something that's just like, oh, Jesus, oh, God, no.
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck are you doing there?
So I think in conclusion, Hollywood, by not casting David Hess all the time, you fucked up.
Yeah, you done fucked up. Fuck you, Hollywood.
Yeah, fuck you. Fuck off, Hollywood.
Fuck off, Hollywood.
Hey, that's the name of the thing.
I still don't remember which one it is.
Fuck off, Hollywood.
Fuck off, Hollywood.
Yeah.
I should remember it because of the Young Ones thing.
No, that's
Fuck off. It's from Company Fuck.
No, it's from Bad News.
That was it?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's from the album, the Bad News album,
Oh, right.
where he's like, I'm not going to pay.
Oh,
because
of course
you're
it
too cross."
is, yeah.
Fuck off!
Yeah, of course it is.
Just fuck off!
Yeah, right. I knew it was Ed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus,
All right.
plus I know it from the Company Fuck album. You should go and buy the Company Fuck album. It's awesome.
Yes, it
It's
is.
one of the greatest albums ever written. Fucking amazing.
Are you ready? Should we move on?
Yeah, I suppose.
All right.
I mean, I don't want to. I want to stay here forever.
See you next time.
Bye.
Goodbye.